to another Snappy Ubuntu Core clinic. I'm joined today by Sergio, and we're probably going to have Kyle later on as well. The way these clinics work is that we want them to be like a conversation starter. If you're new to the world of Snappy and Snapcraft, no problem. We're going to do demos, explain what's happening, and so on. But also make time for questions, and if you ran into problems or want us to help with anything, there's obviously time for that as well. If you're watching this through ubuntuonair.com, there's the video feed, and below the video feed there's the chat window, and you can just enter your favorite nickname, hit the connect button, and then you can talk to us and ask questions. When you ask questions, just make sure you prefix them with question in capital letters so we can more easily pick them up. All right. Yeah, welcome, Sergio and Kyle. What did you have planned for today?
Hey, so first of all, just want to welcome Kyle to the Ubuntu Core / Snapcrafting team. He's going to be helping out with a bunch of things related to development, Snap development. He has a good focus on RAWs, so I hope he's going to be he's going to probably going to provide very good contributions to that area, and we're going to have an excellent story there. So today I wanted to go over what we have new in Snapcraft. Basically, since the last time we had the clinic, which was during the Ubuntu Online Summit, Ted was here and discussed the ROS plugin. In this new release we had a couple of days ago, we basically introduced a Node.js plugin, npm, a nil plugin, which basically does nothing. It was externally contributed, and some people liked it, so we just included it. Then there's a couple of other small features here and there. One is a source subdir keyword, which was requested, and just a command line toggles and some cleanups with keywords to make it like pip like everything that is considered a package, like pip-packages for Python plugins was introduced, and just a couple improvements to our Ketkin plugin. So that's the new stuff we have, and with that, maybe I want to reintroduce what Snapcraft is for people that are looking at this for the first time. Snapcraft is basically an easy way to create snaps from multiple sources. Basically, it allows you to define different set of sources, specify which plugin to use to drive that, and then just create snaps out of them by defining some parts. Those parts will all eventually be combined into a snap, which defines binaries and services. Ubuntu Core, which is using the Snappy architecture, basically understands from snaps today understands services and binaries, and these snaps declare those services and binaries. You can have multiple services and binaries in one single snap. Most of them are all bundled with all their dependencies inside them, and are heavily confined using seccomp and AppArmor for starters, and probably more things in the future. Well, there's C groups and a lot of namespace stuff as well that goes on in there with our internal launcher. And so in the end, Snapcraft just facilitates creating these snaps, and it makes it easy. Of course, not every project is ready for this. Some need some source modifications, but others are just fine. One of those is the one that I want to demo today, live if time permits. So to get on, does anyone else want to mention anything here? Okay, let's carry on. So one of the things that was missed out last time is, I'll just share my screen here. So Snapcraft is just is a command line tool. It basically, there's a couple of things that can be useful for people exploring Snapcraft for the first time. One is list plugins, which will show you plugins. As you can see, there are a couple. It doesn't take too much to write a new one. And for example, the Node.js plugin took me at most 1 hour with unit tests to write, so it's not very hard at all. And if you are into looking into some of these things, or there's also a small help system which you can run, and you can get like help on specific plugins or a topic. You can get list your. There's two right now, so if you say Snapcraft help, um, plugins, you will see like a list of what plugins can do. Their a description. They run in, they have a life cycle. The life cycle here is explained. There are common keywords that well, one thing I didn't mention is that Snapcraft is driven by a snapcraft.yaml, and that YAML is basically some of the YAML keywords for parts are defined here. Such as after.
Sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned the simplicity in writing a plugin. Do we have any documentation regarding that you can point people to?
Okay, so there is basically, if you do Snapcraft help and do develop here, you're taken more into the development page for a plugin, and it has the same description here at the beginning, but then closer to the end you have like the base plugin that you base out of. It's not really handheld that much, but it does basically say, well, if you inherit from base plugin, then you just need to implement build env if you need, and pull. Pull if you are handling common sources and don't need to do anything fancy is probably taken care of for you. And then there's a couple of helpers like run output, and then there's snap file tip. Basically, most plugins just need pull and build. The other things are just candy, sugarcoated, and the doc strings there should explain anything. And if not, I welcome either. We welcome either bug reports or pull requests. So please feel free to contribute that way. So if I want to see help for a specific plugin, I can just do help. Let's see, Node.js, and will show me just a small quick help here saying what the Node.js plugin does, what it expects, and it says it uses the common sources keywords and additionally defines a node packages keyword for each part. So also just check what sources is, as it tells me there, and I just do help sources, and I get all these keywords here that I can use that are common to this plugin itself. So if I wanted to show you, so let me just show you this Shout project, which is IRC Shout. IRC Shout is a Node.js project that just exposes an IRC client on the web, and it is pretty trivial. The only thing it has, well, these are common keywords for Snapcraft metadata, and here's a service that I decided to create for this Snap. It's basically saying these are the services. My service is called server, because I am not very creative, and this server service should start bin/shout.sh, and there's a description which just says shout IRC service. For this, I define two parts. It could be one, but two for now, and I'll explain why they're two. So I just say plugin Node.js, and I have this node packages stanza keyword, and I say bring me shout. This basically does an npm install of shout. Into the right locations and takes care of everything like wrapping stuff neatly in and making it all look fancy. And wrapper uses a copy plugin, which just defines some files and just says copy this shout sh to bin shout sh. If you notice, this bin shout sh is what I'm using here to start the service. So the only reason I have the only reason I have the shout sh is because of a bug or impossibility in the definition of how I can start services, and it's basically because for this to work. So another thing about Ubuntu Core and Snappy is that everything is contained into its own. I'm hand waving here, no one can see me, of course, but everything is contained into its own isolated area. And so the snap will run from its installation area, but it can't write to it. That is defined into its own location. And so I have to tell the shout command to run, to tell it where its home is. And of course, this I only know by reading the source code from shout, but if it were my own project, I'd probably do it a bit differently. And I tell it that it should use snap app data path as its home, so it can write to its database and whatnot. So that said, I can just run, well, do stuff. One is bring in npm and Node.js itself. Well, it's only one tarball, but it's both of those things. It will pull. That's part of the pull phase of the plugin, and then it will build, and eventually it will just create the snap package. Then I will show you the snap running, of course, to make it complete.
While it's pulling, I saw that comment in there mentioning that you couldn't use those variables within the snapcraft.yaml. You may have mentioned, is that something we're going to fix, or is that known? Is that a feature of some kind?
It's a security measure. It's not a Snapcraft per se issue. It's a Snappy Ubuntu Core problem that needs coordination. I can probably just, so basically services, the Snappy subsystem doesn't allow stanzas to have dollar signs in them, and I guess it's to avoid potential problems. I have to get clarification from someone in the security team to see if we can get that removed, and then of course it would be. The other thing is specifically for this, and this is a bug in Snappy itself, but I wouldn't need this if it were a binary. If I declare it as a binary, the snap app user data path and home are the same thing. And in the case of shout, it reads home as well, but home isn't declared in the services for services.
Ah, very interesting.
But if
okay.
Home was snap app data path, then I wouldn't need that at all. So those are the reasons.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
So it looks like the pull part has been completed. So with node packages, it pulls in the package itself and all of its dependencies, or is there anything people need to monkey around with?
So you don't need to monkey around with anything with these. So I have to say, Go and Node have been very pleasant experiences for snap crafting and living in this new world where we where we just bundle everything and deploy it in one single shot, because they take care of everything in an isolated manner. If you see here, I've heard, so there, if you go to the examples, look at the examples, I actually, when I wrote the plugin, I learned, or tried to learn Node.js, and I wrote a small project there which is called web chat, and that web chat application is, so I went step by step and declared dependencies and everything, and it has sort of like Python, it has a requires. So if I go to the, let me just go to the examples real quick. Uh, so if you installed Snapcraft dash examples from the Debian package, your examples will be in this location. I'm gonna go to. Oops. There's a bunch of examples here. The Node.js ones are basically Shout and web chat. Web chat is something I manually created myself. That's basically for Node.js. There you have your dependencies declared, and it will just pick them up. So it's basically a no-brainer. And this is a very simple application. Basically, it is the web chat examples with a bit more functionality, but is close to nothing. Anyone can understand it in a single read, which is good for an example sometimes. So if I do Snapcraft run here, this will install the shout snap onto my running system, I think. Close my existing, yeah. This will basically create a 1504 image and stable image, and install the snap there. Since while we wait, I'm going to mention something. There are, if someone has been reading the mailing list, they might notice that some things are changing. One of the things is that Snapcraft Run is not going to be part of Snapcraft anymore in the 2.0 series we're working on, and it's going to be migrated to the Snappy command line itself into a Snappy try command, where it will determine the best place to deploy your snap to try based on some semantics. Other things that are, so most of the big thing that I need to mention about Snapcraft itself is that we are working towards a 1.0 release. The 1.0 release is aimed for people working on 1504. That Snapcraft will be available on Trusty, Vivid, Wiley, but the 2.0 release will only target Senile. And one of the big reasons for that is there's a bunch of changes coming with Ubuntu Core, Snappy Ubuntu Core itself. One of them is alt snaps. The other is there's like assertions and capabilities, and a bunch of user stories that are coming as well that have been mentioned by Gustavo Naimier on the Snappy Develop mailing list. So if you care to see, just check out. I've also linked those in the release notes for the 0.5 milestone. If you want to check them out, they're all linked there as well. So here you can see that shell has been installed. My version has not been respected. This is because it's a sideload app, and it makes it easy to just install, reinstall, 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 and not worry about things stepping over each other. If I look here, I will see that shout is running here, and This is the non-fancy way to look at it, but if I just do snappy service status, you can see that the service is also running, which is awesome. And since this is a KVM, I need to do a redirect, so just give me 1 second on that. I did a redirect to 9,000 from 9,000 for localhost. And just let me change my screen share strategy here. There we go. So now, if I go to localhost 9,000, I will be here on Snappy Shout, and just for the kicks of it, for people watching on the Snappy channel, I'll join as Snapcraft. Myself. And connect.
Yeah, notice. Oh, does it work now?
And hello. Oh, I changed the name. And that's mostly it with demoing. Stop the screen share. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I was just about to say that we had some. Freenode looks like they are having some issues today, so a bunch of people disconnected from IRC. So that's probably why we haven't had any questions up until now, but I'm sure there's going to be more.
Now that you just went through that walkthrough, I realized that I must not actually be on there because I didn't see any of it.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you who are watching this now or later on, you can always join the #Snappy channel on IRC and ask questions there, or join us on the mailing list. There's the Snappy-Devel and the Snappy-App-Devel mailing list. Bring your questions. I had a question earlier about 1.0 and 2.0 about those Snapcraft releases and what's planned. I could imagine with Xenial going to be an LTS that's going to be a big focus, that many people will want their apps on Xenial because it's going to be supported for ages. Do you expect the transitioning from one to the other is going to be hard for an app developer? Do you expect many changes, or how is it going to work?
Oh, so from a Snapcraft YAML point of view, that is going to be mostly stable. There are a couple new keywords coming in. One is the target. So it's kind of like the in Debian changelog where you define the target, but you can debuild anywhere. Mm-hmm. Then the Snapcraft syntax is changing a bit. There's going to be an all target, so people just run Snapcraft are just going to get all built. But if you want to go through the stages, right now we have pull, build, stage, snap, and assemble. That's changing a bit. It's going to be pull, build, stage, strip, and I'll explain why, and snap. And the reason we want Snapcraft snap is because Snappy build is going away. The Snappy build capability command is going away, and it's going to be replaced by Snapcraft snap. So you can Snapcraft snap a directory. So all the responsibility of building stuff is going to come to Snapcraft, and Snappy is just going to be involved in execution. The other thing that let me explain strip. Strip has been changed. So strip is going to be what previously was called snap, and it's basically about making, so if you look at the Snapcraft lifecycle stages, the stage in area is a place where you can share common components to build stuff further on from parts. So if you have one part depending on the other, and you will need this one to build first to get stuff in the staging area, you will then be able to use stuff from that staging area in the other part to complete a build. And it has a bunch of things that you don't want, like header files, and so you do want there, but you don't want in the final snap. Like header files, other development assets. Maybe you included, so there's a stage packages keyword where you can bring in Ubuntu packages into your snap. Maybe that brings a lot more than necessary. And you can filter it out in that staging area, but maybe you don't want to. You just filter them out when stripping, so you make it smaller and you make your snap as lean and mean as possible. The other thing that's coming in 2.0, there's a bunch of deprecation messages that are now seen when you run Snapcraft. All those are going to be basically invalid or obsolete keywords in 2.0. Let's see, another thing that's coming. Oh, so we're introducing clean build as well. That's why the target keyword is important in Snapcraft.yaml itself. That basically, if you run clean build, we will create a container. There we go. Probably using LexD, most likely using LexD, and run Snapcraft inside that container with the target that's specified in the keyword. That is the objective. So then you can get a clean build snap out of the system. The other thing is that we're going to, with this clean build mechanism, we can actually rely, and since we're 1604 is also going to be focusing on a clean set of things that are going to be included, artifacts or libraries or whatever you want to call them. We are going to make a lot of use in Snapcraft.0 of those things, so you don't have to embed them into your snap if you don't want to, and make it easier. So for example, if Python 3 is part of the Ubuntu Core image in 1604, Snapcraft itself won't embed the Python runtime in your snap by itself, and it will use what's provided by the system. That has some benefits. Of course, it removes the possibility to control most of your things. If you want control, you still have it though. And let's see, I had one more thing to mention, which I forgot. So let's carry on.
Okay, so for most app developers, you reckon that it won't be too hard, that they basically rebuild their app on Xenial and then they test it, and mostly it should just work as before.
Yes, it should be like that. Two more. Sorry, I remembered why you mentioned this. Two things are going to be. So you just need to trim your Snapcraft.yaml a bit, but it will be fine. In most cases, it won't be an automatic thing. It will be like a polishing phase you'll need to go through. Two things that are going away, or one thing is going away from Snapcraft.yaml, and one thing is going to be optional. Vendor is going away. This makes it easy to share your YAML files among each other, and people can iterate and build their own versions without using that vendor, which is going to be replaced with an assertion when you upload. Snapcraft is also going to gain the capability to upload directly to the store as well, so you can just say Snapcraft upload and it will upload your snap.
Right.
And one thing is going to be made optional, and it's the icon. If you upload a snap without an icon, the store, so Snapcraft won't say it's an error, the store won't say it's an error, and the store will pick a default icon for you until you provide one in the snap. So you can still provide one, but it's going to be optional.
Nice. Can you maybe explain to those who are new what assertions are, and how assertions in the case of vendor, how that would be used, how that would work?
Assertions. You should have a Snappy clinic.
Right.
We're talking Snapcraft here, but I can go like hand wave it a bit. But assertion is basically something to say assert that you are who you say you are, and basically grant you access. So as if I upload, it's kind of like deb signing. So you sign your deb and you deput it, and then yes, this is signed by you. You can do this. So there you go. That's in the concerns of the Snapcraft realm. Assertions are a much wider topic, but and for the scenario that covers Snapcraft theme people and folk, this is well, people and folk probably the same thing, but that is what concerns us. Anything else that yeah, those are assertions in a nutshell. I'm someone that doesn't want to learn about them.
Cool. Did you guys, like Kyle, Leo, did you have any more questions, anything you wanted to bring up?
Well, okay, so I might as well mention some of the future developments happening with the ROS stuff. So they haven't really changed in the latest releases since the UOS session, at least I don't think visibly. But we're working on coming up with a method of sharing ROS between snaps. That's still kind of in discussion. But what we're working on right now is supporting more common ROS tools such as ROS launch, right? Being able to run launch files as binaries or services, that type of thing. So that should be coming out relatively soon. That's all I have to share on that.
Brilliant.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to mention quickly that we are working on increasing the discoverage of Snapcraft, and that's a great way to start if you want to. So we have 3 different suites at 3 different levels. We have a unit test suite. We are trying to be test driven with every new change, every bug fix. So in there we fake the external dependencies and isolate the units and check them. Then we have a suite that's called integration, where we try not to fake anything, but still we have like prefabricated scenarios that we want to exercise. So we built a YAML, a snapcraft.yaml that doesn't make a lot of sense in production, but exercises parts of the life cycle. And we call the Snapcraft binary with this YAML and check that the resulting files and directories are properly created. And finally, we have an example suite that's like our user stories. And let's say we have this shout scenario that Sergio showed. So we create a production-like YAML as something that will be similar to what developers will produce. And we generate the snap calling the binary, and then we try that binary in a Snappy virtual machine. So we install the generated snap and we exercise the services or the binaries that the snap contains. So with those 3 suites, we have a combined coverage of more than 90% at this point. But still can be better. So if you want to help, just drop us a line and we'll give you a hand showing you what's missing coverage and what would be nice to test.
Yeah, I would like to reiterate what we said earlier. You can always join us on IRC or on the mailing list. The whole team is available mostly like 24/7. And they answer all your questions and help you out when you need something. It would also be nice, like if you're working with Snappy and Snapcraft and you're testing to get your your software on Snappy. If you have questions, if you run into problems, let us know on the mailing list. We might demo your case the next time and talk about it. And if you have any feedback, like stuff that could be easier or where we need more documentation, let us know as well. Like, we're super eager for feedback. And development is happening in the open, so everything is on GitHub. And yeah.
Everything's on GitHub, but except bug tracking, which is on Launchpad. But you'll have a pointer link on the GitHub page to get to Launchpad. So feel free to log bugs. A bug requesting a plugin to handle certain sources is also welcome. And snapcrafting anything and bringing up issues with it is also good for us, as well as just hanging in the IRC room, chat room, and just commenting, good or bad, doesn't matter, never matters.
Brilliant. Yeah, as you can see, we left quite a bit of time for questions. The IRC gods weren't in our favor today. Just bring them up on the mailing list or on my IRC later on. Yeah, if you guys have nothing else to show, we could wrap it up early.
I just have one small announcement, maybe. One is related to development, which is the 2.x branch is going to start showing up in Senile soon. There's going to be some warnings in the form of announcement tags in Snappy app develop, the mailing list. And then one other thing, if you are looking at going to Scale, there's a UbuCon happening there in parallel. I mentioned this because this might be the last clinic until that moment comes. And a couple of us are going to be there, Manik and myself. Manik is a product manager, and I'm a developer, so we have an interesting take on both sides. We'll be presenting Snappy Ubuntu Core and Snapcraft. We also plan to do some lightning talks with Snapcraft. And last but not least, I hope to have a room for doing not Snapcraft per se development, but Snapcrafting snaps itself. Well, we can do both, but I want it to be a live clinic, and if anyone wants to join, anyone's welcome to, no matter the knowledge or focus. That's all.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks a lot for mentioning it. I'm going to be there as well. That's at Scale, and it's going, like, UbuCon Summit is going to be part of the much bigger Scale event, and that's end of January in California, in Pasadena. Right. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, make sure you subscribe and circle and follow all the Ubuntu On Air accounts. That way you stay up to date on new shows and old shows, and can go back and watch everything. And that's it. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for making me here today. Thanks a lot for the demos. And see you, let's see, a couple of weeks, I guess.
Thanks to you, Daniel.
Take care.
All right, thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Enjoy the week. Thanks for everything.